welcome everyone. Today's Amud is Makos stuff to Zayin Amud Beis. We're in Zayin Amud Aleph, 4 lines or 5 lines from the bottom, 5 lines from the bottom. The one wanted to know what cases are there that a person can be mevatel the essay. There's a lois essay, it's a lava nitik essay, and lava nitik essay that you can go ahead and be mevatel the essay in order to get the malchus. So the Gemara said that there was 2 cases. There's 2 cases. V'suleika, the Gemara asks, are there no more? Va'ika, and then with this bracket, the brackets is like a simon, gezel, mishkan, a peya. Gezel, what's the case of gezel? Gezel rachmana amalei sigzol. It says don't steal. Then it says if you do steal, what should you do? V'eshav segzela, mitzvah essay, give back. Mashkain rachmana loisavay al beis lavat avaisai. And then it says hashev tashiv lay ha'avait, give back the avait. Kvei hashemesh mashkachas la bekim v'leikimai u'bitlei v'lei bitlei. So in those cases, you can, in the case of mashkan, the guy steals this mashkan. In the case of gezel, the guy steals. In the case of mashkan, you're not allowed to take a mashkan on someone without him being maskim. You give it back. In both those cases, you can be mevatel the essay. How can you be mevatel the essay? By burning it, by breaking it. You can't give it back anymore, right? That's pashut. So in those cases, you can be mevatel the essay. The Gemara says, you don't get malchus in that case. Even if you steal this guy's watch and then you break it, you still don't get malchus. Why? Since you can be mekayim meishav segdela by paying him back. Paying him back is another way of not getting malchus. Says the last line in Gemara, maskevlor of zera. I have another case. Va'ika mashkaina shel ger. A case where a guy takes a mashkan on a ger. So who cares if it's a ger or not? Because a ger, there's no to pay back. He doesn't have any yarshim. Talking about a ger, the guy was Megayah. Stay now, he has no family members, so you can't be paid back. Mashkaina shel ger or mesa ger. Says not to pay back. The Gemara says, Hasam gaver bat ashluminhu. Shibudi de ger hu de kopaka. In that case, really, he could pay back. Just what? There's no ger. There's no shibud on the ger anymore. In other words, it's not a problem of there's no mitzvah to pay back anymore. There is. There's just no one to pay back. I think that l'chayr, that's how you learn it. So the Gemara has another case now. Va'ika peya. Next case. The Gemara's trying to find, remember, we're trying to find a case where a person can be mevatel the essay, the yadayim. He goes ahead and he uproots the essay, so now you should get malchus. And when it says peya, what's peya? When a guy sows his field, or when a guy, what's the word, is harvests his field. So then you have to leave the corner for that niyam. You can't take the whole field. Rachmana Omar, it says in the pasuk, Lo yisechale pasotcha, don't uproot the whole field. La'ani v'leger tazav v'isam. Leave it for the ani, leave it for the ger. Leave your field for the poorman, for the stranger amongst you, for the someone who wasn't Jewish, the gayer. The mashkachas la, in that case you find it b'kimo v'lekimo v'bitle v'lebitle. So you can have a case there that you can't anymore give it to the ger. Why? So Rashi says you took the wheat and you were taking it, you ground it. Now once you grind it, let's take a look in the last wide line of Rashi. Mashkachas lo bebitloi, says Rashi, you have wheat there, but you ground, once you were taking the wheat, once you grind it, you make it into flour, now you can no longer give it to the ani, because you were kind of bishinoi. Too late now. Once you grind that wheat, you can no longer give it to the ani. So that's how you mevatel That's how you mevatel the mitzvah of payah. The Gemara is going to explain. This not mitzvah payah lahavsh min hakama. The real mitzvah of payah is to take it from the stalk. When it's still growing, you leave it shalem, attached to the field. That's the kama. Leave it. Let him come. Let the ani come. He comes to your field, picks the wheat, and that's it. Let's say you weren't mafresh from the kama, you didn't leave the corner of the field, you harvested, right? So mitzvah mafresh min ha'omer. So you should be mafresh from the omer. What's the omer? After you harvested it, it's lying on the field, you chopped everything down, it's lying on the floor. You told your guy, go with the combine harvester, he chops everything down, but it's still, the grain is still in the sheaf, it's still lying on the field, the whole thing. You just leave it like that, let the ani come and he'll take it like that. If you didn't leave for the ani like that, so mafish min kri. What's the kri? Kri is when you take all this grain, it's lying on the field now, and you make it all into one pile. Make it into one pile, so then you leave him a bit of the pile. You say this part of the pile is going to be for the aniyah. So mafish min kri actually mireach. Mireach is when they do some type of, some chaleks showing exactly what mireach is. It's some type of avodah to separate the wheat from the chaff. Right, that they take out the hay, they take out the teva, and they take out it's some type of processing, right? So actually, mireach milchu, if they already did the mireach, so ma'aser v'noisen. Once you did the mireach, then you take ma'aser, and then ma'aser v'noisen loy. So it's mashma from here. Mice, what'd you do? You take mice, and then you give it to the ani. So what's the kasha over here? So you see that l'chayra, this guy he wasn't yet tight. Oh, so the mashmais is like this. Only once you did miruach can you still give it to this guy, to the ani. But if you was teichen it, if you took mice and then you took it home and he made it into a cake, he ground it up, made it into a bag of flour, you could no longer give it to the ani. You can no longer be mekayim payah. Now, you can be mekayim payah. The dik is from the fact that you can only give it to him after miruach. But after that, you're done. You can only be mekayim the essay. Even after you take mice, you can still be mekayim the essay. So the Gemara answers, "Could there be Yishmael? Sheet is going like Rabbi Yishmael. The Amma af mafish min isa. You can even take challah. You can even take payah. You give it to Ani even once you have an isa, even once you have like a dough. You can still give him. Okay, so if you could still give it to him once as a dough, so how are you ever mumavatal this mitzvah? Even when you make it into cake, you can still give it to him. So the Gemara answers, even according to Rabbi Shmuel, you can find the case he's mumavatal it. The achal isa, he made a cake and then he ate it, so you can't give it to the ani anymore. It's eaten. So even in the case of payah, l'chayra, you can find a case where he's muvzatal it. So Ella, Zois Veidacheres. So what does it mean when he said there's this thing and another thing? What's the other thing? So now that we found, so Ella Zois Veidacheres, aha, Avalainas Lai. So he's going to say, so in that case, what you got to do is when he said there's two cases, Zois and Acheres. So maybe the Einis, we said the Einis is a case you can muvatal. Maybe Einis he can't be muvatal really. Why? We said before he can muvatal the Einis. How? Because he marries this woman and he divorces her and he can't remarry her because he made a neder. We said it's I can be muvatal the neder. So it's a neder das rabbim. That's what Gemara answered. The neder das rabbim you can't cancel. So now Gemara says, you know what we're talking about here? So he doesn't like this neder das rabbim. When do we say you can't annul a neder das rabbim? That's a davar rishus. That's only if it's something that's a rishus. the rabbim say, make a neder that you won't eat pizza anymore. Okay, you can't cancel that neder. If it's for a mitzvah, in this case it's for a mitzvah to marry this girl, in that case, yesh lafara, you are allowed to be made for another al das rabbim. And then he brings the case, ki hada hu to have a mikri dardiki. There was certain mikri dardiki. Mikri dardiki is a teacher. They used to have a guy stood at the front of the thing and taught the boys how to read the psukim. Mikri dardiki, someone who taught the little kids. To have a pasha, biyanuka. He was negligent with the kids. And it's a machlekes of the Rishonim what this negligence was. Rashi says he would hit them. Or he would hit them too much, more specifically. Right? Other Rishonim say that it's talking about he was peshay, he wasn't teaching them properly. Otherwise, there's problems. How can you cancel the nether? But we'll see. So, to have a pasha v'yunuka. Adre Ravacha made the nether, he was mother him. He said he's not allowed to, he was, I guess, the head of the beis din. He can't teach anymore, he's mother him. V'hadre Ravina. And then Ravina put him back. Why? There was no one that was as good a teacher as him. So they brought him back, even though this is considered neder das rabbim. I guess because our beis din, whatever it was, he makes this neder, this Rav made the neder. Still, you could take it back. You can mevatel the neder. Why? Because it's for a mitzvah. The tzarech teaching these kids Torah, they could bring him back. It could be maybe it was peshay and something completely different. They didn't want this guy teaching because he did some other avera, and then they saw that there's no one else wants the job, or there's no one else as good as him. You know what? Happens a lot. You want to fire teachers, then you realize your second best choice is not a choice. Okay, Adkan. That's till now. That's a Gemara. Now we get to the whole new sugla of eating bugs. Eating bugs. The geschmack of eating bugs, yeah? So, kaima l'kaima just means that as soon as you're over the lav, you get malchus. You don't have to be mevatel the essay to get the malchus. As soon as you stole, you get malchus.
In this case.
In every case, kaima l'kaima means.
Right.
In every case, so which case are you talking about specifically?
Like yes and mashkor.
Yeah, so as soon as you steal, you chayiv malchus. You come to base and say you stole. Yeah, okay, we'll give you malchus. And then they'll ask you though, do you want to give it back? Or you want the malchus? If he says I'm not giving it back, okay, malchus. He's chayiv malchus straight away. He doesn't have to break the mashkin, he doesn't have to ruin the gazelle in order to get the malchus. If he can't give it back for whatever reason, okay, malchus. He has an option to get out of it.
But he
stole. Yeah.
Or he took the mashkon.
Chayiv malchus.
Unless he returns it.
That's his way out of it. In other words, we don't force him to.
It's
We
like
don't.
Reish Lakish.
Kiva lekima. That's the shita. Yeah. Kiva lekima. Reish Lakish holds. It's actually machlekes of Shainim who holds what, but the pasha is the way Rashi learns. The Reish Lakish holds kiva lekima. If you as soon as you steal, as soon as this guy divorces his wife, give him malchus. You don't ask any questions. If he says, I'll take it back, I'll give it back.
Then it's okay.
Yeah, we'll let him off.
Okay.
Yeah. The sheet that holds bitlai, he could steal. We don't give him malchus. We don't say give him malchus. When we see the guy about to eat it, we say don't eat it. If you eat it, you're going to get malchus. That's when Rashi says you give him asra again, l'chayra.
Okay.
He's chayiv then again malchus. That's when he's. In other words, according to bitlai, it's like the end of the Maisa, Rashi said. It's the end of the Avera. It's part of the Avera. The Avera is to steal and to eat it, that you can't give it back.
Mm-hmm.
If you're about to give it back, so you didn't fulfill the issa of stealing. Okay, says the Gemara. He gets malchus, right? Amr of Yehuda. We finish the sugya of kima lekima. You can take a deep breath. Bitla. We're out of it for now. Okay, it's all easy from here. This guy's very hungry. Or he likes going to these delicate restaurants in China, with the all sorts of geschmack, crawly things. We're going to see a bunch of shitas now that I don't think any of you probably knew. I certainly didn't know before I learned this. Amr of Yehuda. Haiman da'achol binte. the bekrava. Someone eats a bug that's living in a kruv, living in a cabbage. Malkinale, you gave him malchus. Why? Mishum sheretz asheretz ala aretz. It says in the pasuk, don't eat anything that's sheretz asheretz ala aretz. V'chol sheretz asheretz ala aretz shekatu lo ye'achel. Don't eat it. That's the pasuk. Okay, sounds good. Don't eat shkotzim. I mean, the question is, what's the chiddush over here? Of course you don't eat it. Of course you get malchus for eating the sheretz. What's the havim in it? So some Rishonim want to say maybe because it's not in the kruv. I don't know. Maybe because it has to live first on the ground, and maybe I'm not going to get into it. Who the achol binti de bekrava v'nag de Rav Yehuda. Okay, so Ma'aser Shaya really gave him Malchus. They ask the questions like, what you just said it's Asa. Rav Yehuda said it's Asa. Now you bring a story that he gave him Malchus. By the way, just very interesting because it's something from my great great grandfather. Nagde means you give him Malchus. Where does that lotion come from? Nagde. So he said, and he's got a book about all the Shorish Shroshim of words. Our Marcus, he says that the word Nun Gimel, Nag, comes from a word like to hit. The Shorish Nag is to hit. He gives a bunch of examples. Nega is someone's hit with a disease. The Nagen is to bang an instrument. Nagen. The Negev is where it's down south, it's called the Negev. It's been hit by the sun. Or the Negev is to wipe something dry. Neged is you're against something. It's always like duh. Interesting. So Nagde review he gave him Malchus. That's the shorish of the word. Easy way to remember it. Rabbi says Putisa. There's a big machlokes what this putisa is. Is it a small fish? Taisa seems to be saying it's some type of tiny fish or snail. Rashi says putisa is Rashi says sheretz hamayim. Sorry, Rashi says sheretz hamayim. It's some type of snail. Bola sheretz hamayim. Ocho putisa. What's the din? Loike arba. He gets 4 malchus. Nemala eats an ant. Loike chamesh, he gets 5. Mishum sheretz sheretz aretz. He also gets because of the love of sheretz sheretz aretz. Tzira, he eats a wasp. Like a sheish. Mishum sheretz aif. Something that flies is another love. If you can't eat sheretz aif, means any type of bug, fly, wasp, anything like that, there's an extra lav. So take a look in Rashi. What are these lavim? Arba. It's about 10 lines above. In Rashi says like arba. What are the 4 lavim you get? Shnei lavim ksuvim b'sheretz hamayim. There's 2 lavim it says by snails of the sea. Echad b'toitzkan and echad b'mishatera. V'shnei lavim ksuvim b'sheretz stam. It says 2 lavim by any sheretz. It's a leit shaksis nafesh sheichem, leit tamim b'hem. Okay, mashma ben sheretz hamayim b'sheretz aretz. So those are the 4 lavim you normally get. Now, Numala, if it crawls on the ground, there's another lav called Sheretz Aretz. Now, major Yisayid in Rashi. Take a look in Rashi over here. Numala. There's a massive machlaikas. Rashi says Numala. Bala Numala Chaya. He swallows. Bala means to swallow like whole. Numala Chaya, a living ant. Even though it's tiny, but since it's a whole thing and it's alive, he gets malchus. Rashi Shita is it has to be alive in order to be leika, to be over the lav, by any sheretz. And the Aruch LaNer explains, because and he's muchach to say it, we'll see in a second why, even though it doesn't say in the Gemara black and white, has to be living because the losh of sheretz hasharetz is that it's still able to be fruitful and multiply. It's still able to grow, to spread, right?
Okay.
To move around. But if it's dead, sheretz means like it crawls. If it's dead, it can't crawl anymore.
Well, what's the chiddush? This one lav doesn't move the others, so he gets 5 times more. For each
Well, that's not the shaila here. Does he get one? The shaila is not does he get any of the other ones.
They all like similar.
They're all similar. So the Gemara is a chiddush. You get a malchus for each one of them, right?
Yeah.
But there's another chiddush in Rashi. Numala is only if he eats it alive. The issue of eating a numala is only if it's alive. We're going to see in a second. Let's read the next couple lines of Gemara, and you'll see why we'll see where Rashi's getting it from. Amar v'chai hamasha es nekevav over mishum loy teshakzu. Someone who needs a bathroom, he holds it in. He's also over this. This is the rise of Bal Tashaksu. Bal Tashaksu means loy teshakzu. Don't do anything that's disgusting. You see, when you eat a bug, one of the lavim is loy teshakzu nafshesechem is disgusting. Eating it's disgusting. That's why it's asa. So also holding in, if you need a bathroom, it's also it's a machlekes rishonim achreinim. If this is a deraisa derabanan, many hold it's only derabanan. It's a smachta ba'alma. Of course, it's not. It's a deraisa. Certainly, there's no malchus for it. The question is, if it's deraisa, why is there no malchus for it? Amar of Bibi bar Abba Abaye Hayman de Shosi bekarna de umna. Someone drinks out of. It's literally a syringe that someone takes blood, draws. They used to draw blood from some type of karna, like a keren. Someone drinks out of a keren that you draw blood in. It's also disgusting. It's also about tashaksu. Even though there's a blood in it, maybe they cleaned it out. But the kli, even though you drank freshly squeezed orange juice, but since the kli is a disgusting kli that you use only to draw blood, so it's also about tashaksu. Amar Rava bar of Huna risik tisha teishan amalim. New case. A guy, he blends, he throws in his Magimix, throws in his Kenwood, 9 ants. But it's still not a kazayis. Vevi echot chai, he brings a live one, v'shlim le kazayis. And that big live one brings it up to, now he's got a full kazayis. So he gets like a vav. He gets, how many malchus does he get? 6. Hey mishum bria, vecha mishum kazayis nevela. He gets 5 because he ate this bria, a shalem, this full live ant. We said before you get 5, I said before you get 5 malchus for that. And now he also has a kazayas together with the other 9 smushed ones. He has a whole kazayas. He gets another malchus because of kazayas nevela. You're not allowed to eat any nevela. You can't eat. Nevela is a dead animal. It wasn't shechted. It's not kosher. Dead animal. So he has a kazayas of dead ants. He gets malchus. Even if it's 2 plus that one, you don't need 9. You could have 2 big ones and that one. It could be 1 big one or 1 small one, 1 live one, 1 dead one. One's talking about small ants, one's talking about big, maybe cockroaches, I don't know what. Together you have to get to the kazayis. Now take a look in Rashi. Rashi says Mishum Kazayis Nevela. It's slightly below where it is in the Gemara. Rashi says Mishum Kazayis Nevela. Now there's a kasha over here, right? One of these ants is alive, right? There's 9 dead ones, 1 alive one. Mm-hmm. So you don't have a nevela has to be dead to be over nevela. This one's alive. So how? Yeah, but it's alive. Why does he get malchus? It's for eating a kazayis of nevela. One of them's alive. So Rashi says, "Kishabayla yumeis." Once he swallows it, it's dead. Mm-hmm. Now it becomes dead in his stomach, right? And now you get a kazayis nevela. So you have to understand. So if you Rashi, he's not over the 5. You have to say like this: to be over the kazayis nevela, that's when it's in your stomach. Doesn't matter what happened in your mouth. Once in your stomach, you got a kazayis nevela, you chayiv malchus for that. If there's a kazayis nevela in your stomach, but he's only chayiv. 1 second, good question. But you're only chayiv for eating the dead bug if it's alive in your mouth. So it's got to be alive when he swallows it to get the 5 malchus for a live ant. How does it become an aveda? Because once he swallows it, now it becomes a kazayis. Crazy shita. It sounds absurd. Why is Rashi saying this? So take a look at Taisus Risik Teisha, right? Teisha Numolim. Taisus says Risik. Taisus got a few kashas over here. Ve'echad chai. The Gemara says before one's alive. So Taisa says, what does it mean he's alive? He's alive, eating alive bugs? We're talking about in the Chinese marketplace, in the Wuhan market, people are, eating live animals, right? Pira shalem. What does it mean it's alive? Not like Rashi said that it's alive and kicking. Right? The Gemara means it's shalem. A berry has to be shalem in order to be over. Taisa says it's shalem. Avavada, you mates, of course he's dead. Of course it's dead. How do I know he's dead? Because the Iratzalei B'chai Mamish, if it's alive, how does this live animal, how does that become a Kazayas Nevela? You need a Kazayas Nevela. So it's got to be dead, just it means Shalim. So if you Rashi we said, Kulan, he swallows it alive, so he gets, jing, 5 lavim, bam, 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 he ate a live bug. So where's your Kazayas Nevela? Where's your Kazayas of dead animal? And the stomach is dead. Once it goes down the throat, some say a bug, specifically a bug, because as Gemara's the mashma, the bird, he has a small, tiny bird. It's not going to die straight away, but he means maybe in the base of blia, in the throat, when he swallows it here already, it's dead. These bugs, they die straight away. So either way, in the throat, in the stomach, he's dead. That's how Rashi gets you Kazayas Nevela. Taisus doesn't like it. Taisus, how do you have a Kazayas Nevela? I'll tell you how you have a Kazayas Nevela, because the thing's dead. That's how you got a Kazayas Nevela. Taisus has another kasha. It's beautiful. Taisus says, Vim Taimar. So Taisus has another few kashas. Let's skip the next one because we're running very, very late. But if you skip, Taisus says Avol Kasha. Go down 2/3 of the way down Taisus. Taisus says Avol Kasha. Heichit starf Aisha Shalom the Kazayas Nevelas. Falei ein is an Nevela Chalalov. You have another kasha here. The Gemara says you have a Kazayas Nevela, right? How do you have a Kazayas Nevela? There's something called ein Issa Chalal Issa. Once you have one Issa, you can never have another Issa. So how are you over Issa Nevela for having bugs? The bug has it, it's a sheretz. So when you kill the sheretz, does it become a Nevela now? No, it's a sheretz. Ein Issa Chalal Issa. You never over Issa Nevela with bugs. That's Taisus Kasha. There's a rule. Ein Issa Chalal Issa. Right? Avokasha hechit starf Eisa Shalom Kazayas Nevelas. Vale ein Issa Nevela Chalalov. Doch in Aminim b'Meseches Beila. Dein Issa Nevela Chalal Issa Behemet Tmeya. There's no Issa Nevela by Behemet Tmeya. If someone takes a pig and eats it, there's no Issa Nevela. Issa Nevela is on a kosher animal that dies. It's a Nevela. There's no Issa Nevela on having pig. Because ein Issa Chalal Issa. So similarly, there's no Issa Nevela on having a bug. V'yishleimar Doch Issa command the Isla Issa Chalal Issa. Tais has to say this Gemara is only going to the Shita Yesh Issa Chalal Issa. So it's a machlaikas. Is the Issa Chalal Issa ein Issa Chalal Issa? Tais has to say Al Gemara is not an halacha. It's going to the Shita the ein Issa Chalal Issa, the Yesh Issa Chalal Issa. But Rashi doesn't have this kasha at all. Rashi never had this kasha. Because according to Rashi, how does Rashi learn? There was once he swallows it alive, and only then it becomes an avela. When does it become an avela according to Rashi? In his stomach. After he's already swallowed it. So I think they want to say that according to Rashi, therefore, there's no issa, it's not issa chalal issa. Because he's already swallowed it. See, either way, so Rashi has a bunch of kashas over here, which push Rashi to say, massive chiddush, do you only ever the issa of bugs if the bug's alive? It's only if it's alive. Taisa says it doesn't have to be alive, it's got to be shalem. Taisa has another kasha over here, we might as well take it, we might as well see it inside. Vim taima. Why do you need it to be shalem? Lama li shei shalem b'kazayis man? Lilkim mishum lav the shvatzim. Delakach asa achil the shvatzim. Lai medi kazayis harbe v'achachad zayis chayev. Tais says, let's say you have a bug. This is Tais's kasha. If you have a bug that's bigger than a kazayis, a bug that's 5 zaysim, I don't know what, you have a tarantula, it's 5 zaysim, and the guy only eats 1 zayis of it. He doesn't have the whole thing. Is he chayev? He didn't have a bria shlema. Torah says, of course he's chayev. Maybe that's what Torah is saying. It says in Torah by bugs achila. Achila is mashma a kazayas. That's achila. We said there's another way to get to the threshold of achila. That's if it's a bria. But if a guy doesn't have a whole bria of bugs, a guy takes a kazayas of a tarantula, he didn't have the whole thing. He only has but he has a kazayas. Tais says it's still going to be also because there's an achila there. Im ken akach achila also the midrash sheicher dike heizesim medal v'achad minay v'chayev. So Taisa wants to say that of course you chayiv if you have just because if you have a full kazayis even though it's not a bria. V'yeshem lekach nakat echad shalem dike lave d'shvatzim d'loi nichve b'lashon achila. V'ma'isam lo yukat sheyechel bria shleima. So what? However, since Taisa says you have some bugs that isn't a kazayis, and therefore you don't have the issa of achila. That's why the Torah has to say the words of even not b'lashon achila. You like even shalei yitamu, even if there's no achila, but the fact that you had a bria shleima, you like her from the other psukim, not from the pasuk achila. So from the pasuk achila, they says you only get malchus if you have the full kazayas. Okay, let's just see the next few lines in the Gemara. We have another 2 minutes, I think. So, Achal tevel l'maisa rishon. A guy eats tevel l'maisa rishon. What's tevel? Tevel is food that you haven't taken shumas and maisas from. So, u'maisa rishon. So, in those cases, you get malchus. Amarav, achal tevel shel maisa oni. What's the case if someone eats tevel for maisa oni? Meaning, they've taken shumah, you took maisa, you took everything. The only thing you didn't take was maisa oni. Now, maisa oni is not kaddish. You're allowed to eat maisa oni. It's not also bachila. But you have to be mafresh. You have to say, this is for the oni. But there's no kedusha to it. Any poor guy can eat it, right? So what's the din if he ate tevel from maisa ani? He took trumas, he took maisas, he just didn't take maisa ani. Like her. He gets malchus, come on. Who holds you get malchus? Ki aitan Tanya, Amar Vesi, Yachal Yechayiv Elal Tevel Shelo Yura B'menu Kol Ikar. You might think you only get malchus if you didn't take any trumas or maisras. So who remember call ikka? Who remember truma gedayla? Who remember ma'aser rishon? Ma'aser rishon like ma'aser sheni. But feeling ma'aser ani minayin. How do I know you get malchus even if you just didn't take ma'aser ani? Tamid laima lo yisuch alecha b'sharecha. It says in the pasuk lo yisuch alecha b'sharecha. V'lan lo imeh v'achlu b'sharecha v'saveyu. And it says eat it b'sharim. Malan ma'aser ani afkam ma'aser ani. It says by the ani the heat in the shower. Here it's also shar. If you didn't take ma'aser ani, you get malchus. So Omer V'Yosef Ketanai, it's Machlekes Tanayim. Rabbi Elazar ben Tzarech Likwes Hashem, Al Ma'aser Ani Shal Demai, V'chom Ma'imim Kairos Hashem and Tzarech Lafish. Well, I thought we're here, but we'll just what is a Machlekes? You have Demai. What's Demai? You don't know if the guy took Trumas or mice from it, right? Demai. We don't know. Amaretz, it's his fruit. What's the din? So do you have to take Ma'aser Ani? So Gemara says the machlekes is are you kairos Hashem? But now it's a suffix. You have to be kairos Hashem because it might be also to eat it otherwise. But you can eat it yourself. It's a suffix. You can eat it, or you don't even have to be kairos Hashem. Rabbi says you don't have to be kairos Hashem. Chacham say kairos Hashem, but you don't have to be mafresh it. You say this is my son, and then you go eat it. Okay, we're going to see tomorrow Be'ez Hashem the machlekes. Thank you.